Where does that rank in terms of your team's performance throughout the season?
I think it's the best for sure. I think we've talked countless times being stood up here around the need for complete performances and to be really dominant at home and to be dominant in all phases of the game. And I think you've seen that tonight. You've seen a really, really accomplished performance that was comfortable against a team that is right at the top of the table. That obviously is a real threat on its day. And I think across us being composed on the ball, staying connected as a team, using the middle of the pitch well, switching well, we've really managed a tough game there against a team that's very dangerous on the transition. So I think that's probably the biggest step forward that we would take from that game. And I just said to the players, I loved everything about the performance from start to finish. The energy that the subs came in with, the tactical discipline. It was a really good performance, and I think we are hitting our stride just at the right time, which is really important.
Kelvin, 7 goals in 6 games. Can he keep a goal game pace up?
Let's hope so. He's certainly been, as you've heard me say on countless occasions, exactly what we really hoped he would be, a real reference point number 9, someone that really pushes the culture. And I think we've now got a really good thing going with how it feels day to day and the energy and the level of commitment from the group, and he's played a really big part in taking that to the next level. So beyond the goals, as I've mentioned repeatedly, he defends really well. He stays really well connected to the team. He sets the pressure really well. He's a very disciplined player. So as much, of course, as I hope the goals continue, I also hope that side of the game continues, because that's arguably as important for us.
What was the key to the defensive performance tonight, in your opinion?
Yeah, we did make some subtle changes as to how we were going to defend a couple of the problems that they posed us and caused us some difficulties with in the opening stages of that game. There, they obviously have a very distinct way of playing with 4 very narrow front players that really look to try and take the space in behind, and we did suffer when we went there in the first 10 or 15 minutes. And I thought today, in terms of the execution of some of that subtlety, we were outstanding, and the wing backs played a big role in that, but the back line was really, really good, and we've been crying out for a complete, disciplined 90-minute performance from the back line, and that was as good as it gets, I think. So I'm really pleased that we've been able to wrong some of the right some of the wrongs, should I say, of the last couple of months at home, and some of the errors that we've committed that have led to some really frustrating nights here. And I think that hopefully is now put to bed, and we can do what I asked of the players prior to the game, which is almost do the easy thing. We've won some really tricky games away from home, some games under really difficult circumstances, and we just need to do the thing that sets most teams apart at the top of this league, which is have a good home record, play with real confidence and energy at home. And I think we got one of the best atmospheres, the best crowds, the best settings in the league. So there's no excuse in that sense. And I felt tonight we really used that well. We attacked the first 5-10 minutes of either half, which made a big difference for us, and there was none of that nervousness, that tension that you felt at home over the course of the last couple of months. So fingers crossed that's a line in the sand that we can really use as a benchmark here.
Speaking of that tension, scoring first this time changed the energy quite a bit, and we've seen that not necessarily be the case in previous games. What are your thoughts on that? Why was that different today?
Yeah, well, we were clinical in front of goal. Of course, Kelvin's helped that. I can't imagine he looks back at the first one and says it's the best goal he's ever scored. But he's there, and it gets us in front. And I think that changes the dynamic. We have suffered, I think, here for starting games relatively well and then finding ourselves very quickly through one chance being down, and obviously that changes the dynamic of the game, and almost always it feels like late on we're chasing here with good energy and creating a lot of chances, but I think we've struggled to put complete performances together, and I'm also sort of loath to almost take the season as a whole, because I think that period in the middle was not representative at all of what we are now and what we were at the beginning. So I think that middle period really skews the home record, some awkward situations here and some odd scenarios, I would say. But I think in general we haven't been good enough at home, even in these 2 good spells, and now we've got to make sure we build on this.
We talked a lot about defending set pieces even a few weeks ago, and now it's been several weeks since we've had to talk about that. What has been the biggest change in that improvement?
No, again, I think again, loath to take the season as a whole in that sense, because I do feel that through that period with so much change, so many absences, so many players in and out, I think from a defensive set place perspective, you're always likely to suffer. I think particularly inconsistencies in the back line, inconsistencies in understanding roles and responsibilities. You make 5 changes at the end of a game with players coming into the game that are certainly not familiar, number one, with the level of threat in the league, but number two, with the way in which things need to be dealt with. That in itself is enough of a problem, I feel now. For sure, consistency has helped. Addition of a couple of key players has really helped, and the work that's getting done behind the scenes is really good. I've said all along, I don't think over the course of the season it wasn't a lack of attention problem, it wasn't a lack of detail problem, but I think now it's come together, touch wood, relatively nicely, where the work behind the scenes is really good, and the way in which the players that have responded to that and are now performing on game day has made a big difference. But that's something that we've got to ensure that we're not complacent around. We don't get carried away with the fact that it's been a sort of relatively clean slate for a month or so. We know every game in the MLS there's a real set play threat, and we've got to make sure we're on point with that.
Robin tied the club record tonight with 15 assists. Is this playmaking maybe even better than you thought it was when you came here?
Yeah, I'm really pleased that in the last 2 games Rob is back to his creative best, and I think again he was one that suffered through the middle period, through the early months of the summer for lots of changes of position and us being really reliant on him to fill gaps because of his versatility. I think now you're seeing, when we're attacking, you're seeing the best version of Rob in the areas of the pitch that are most suited to his skill set, and he's also playing with a couple of players that obviously has a good connection with. The intuition of the front players, you can see, is starting to fall into place, and I feel, of course, on his day he is one of the most creative players, one of the most valuable players at the top of the pitch in this division, and I think now we're fortunate that we've got players that can connect with him, and also players that can get on the end of the passes and make sure that we convert a lot of what he creates.
Speaking of players that have improved over the past few weeks, how good has Hassani Dotson been in the last few weeks?
Yeah, I've said very openly, I think, over the course of this 10-game mini-season, as I've termed it, that he's been certainly one of our best players, and someone that alongside Will in the middle you can really rely on to, number one, give the team real energy, discipline. There's, I think, rarely over the course of the last 6 or 7 games been a single question mark against those two in terms of their tactical discipline, how well they carry the message that we as coaches put at the players' door from the beginning of the game, and also then when you add to that the dynamism that he's playing with, the goals, the attacking threat. I think again he's benefited from us slightly changing the way in which he's used. We've taken the reins off him a little bit, and we've tried to make sure that he can use his legs and his running power, and he can play off the front well. And yeah, he's in great form, and someone that I'm really pleased to have right back in his rhythm, because he's a very good player on his day in this league.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.